product photography the easy way.
How many of you have sold something on eBay? Show of hands. I do. How many of you have sold something on Craigslist? How many of you have gone to eBay or Craigslist to buy something? How many of you have gotten frustrated at the terrible, terrible pictures of whatever it is you're trying to buy on eBay or Craigslist? I think we all have. Taking pictures of small objects for sale is one of the most difficult things. It seems easy. You just point a camera at whatever your object is, and you'll capture it, and then you can upload it. It seems so easy, actually quite difficult. You have to think about how to best showcase this object, how to get enough light onto the object that your camera can actually record how it looks, can record the texture, can record all of the little interesting scratches and wear and tear you've had on it for however long you've had this item. It can be very difficult, as you see every day on Craigslist and eBay. So many times I've seen pictures of some random object in front of just a random assortment of things on a desk. It's so distracting. You get confused about what are you trying to buy? Is it this? Is it the desk? It's hard to say. I have come up with a device that can solve all of these problems for you. This device can make you rich if you have a lot of small things to sell. There's a disclaimer in there somewhere. I don't know. It's so easy to use. It's very well named. I like to call it the box.
Wow.
This, yeah, I know.
Finally crafted. Finally
Yeah,
crafted.
you can tell. You can tell. This is a box that I made, and it is constructed from an old moving box from the last time I moved. So it looks pretty dirty. What I did was I cut 3 sides out of it, and I taped tracing paper on there. I use tracing paper because I'm very, very cheap. It's very important. If you're going to make money at eBay, you have to be cheap. Just start with that. Then, for the background and the floor, as you can kind of see here, a little bit, I hope everybody can see it, I took a piece of poster board and I just taped it in there as a smooth sweep to the background. Put some tape on the corners and the edges so it doesn't fall apart on me on the way over here, and we're done. That is it. Now, what does this do for us? This box, with the tracing paper, creates a soft, diffused light that wraps from all sides. Here I've set up a few lights, and I'm going to demonstrate how to use the box, patent pending. Nobody steal my ideas. This is on video. I'm going to demonstrate how to use it to take a picture. This is my first digital camera that I ever bought. I bought it in 2003, so it's 11 years old now, which is kind of amazing. The reason I'm using it is because it's about as good as an iPhone is, a current iPhone. It's not very good at all, but I'm just going to use it anyway. That way you can kind of see that any camera, really, can take great results with the box. The camera doesn't matter. What matters is the light. So as you can see, we have 3 lights. I'm holding this because I don't have anything to kind of. I'll just put it there. Start fire. You have this really soft light coming in from all sides, and it really illuminates all this interesting character on this very old trophy. Seriously, Ken, we need trophies. Now, what I'm using is 200-watt bulbs in 3 different cam lights. That's how I set it up, and I do this because it has so much light that just comes out of it. It's so bright that you can shoot almost at any setting. So I'm just going to take a few shots. You have a nice 3-point light, so you have light coming in from this side, coming from this side, and coming in from the top. If you wanted to vary it a little bit, you could angle these lights different ways. You can have light coming more from the front, more from the back. You can move this to the back, move it to the front. You just vary it to get different effects, to do different things. If you have an object that has more texture, you want the light to kind of skim in from the back. You don't want it to be all in the front. If it's all in the front, you're not going to be able to see any of that really great texture. So you're really warm up here. So So that's how you use the box. I've talked about how you build the box. Very simple, very easy. Now think about this. This is like a tiny little studio right here. And it's very small and it's very flimsy. If I had used plastic or some kind of white, can't think of it, plexiglass, some kind of white plexiglass in there, this box would be much stabler and would last me probably years. I mean, this is tissue paper, so it's not going to last very long. What if I had used a larger box? What if I had used a refrigerator box? What if I had used a cabinet? If you go to my garage right now, it's set up, my studio is set up, so it's basically a full garage that's this. I have a giant piece of paper on a roll that comes down to the floor and sweeps all the way out across the entire garage. You can walk in and stand on this paper, and anybody that takes a picture of you doesn't see any break. You don't see that wall to floor matchup. You don't see the terribly ugly concrete in my garage. You don't see the terrible wall of just drywall that was never even painted behind it. All you see is this great smooth background. Now, if you don't want to use lights, one thing that you can do, I took some pictures earlier, and hopefully I'll be able to show them to you now. If you don't want to use can lights, you can use basically anything you have around. These are my salt shakers. They're very fancy, as you can tell. And I just grabbed every flashlight we had and put them up there. What's interesting about this, you can't really tell right here because the color is not super great. This is kind of a bluish LED light, and this one's a little bit green, and this one's kind of yellow. So you have this really interesting color shift going across, where the back lights are more blue and blue-green, and the front light is more yellow. It's kind of, I totally intended for that to happen, of course. But I really
Nothing
like
happens
it.
by accident.
Now that I've seen it, I like it,
Yeah.
so I'll do it again. So that's one example. Another example, I just grabbed a bunch of Maglite flashlights and set them up. So you do not need to do anything. This is an old speaking map that I modified years ago. Tons of fun. Maglite flashlights work just as well, as you can tell. Here, I just grabbed 3 lamps from inside the house. My wife was thrilled when I was doing this, because it got really dark inside. So I just grabbed 3 lamps, and I showed the bulbs. These are both compact fluorescent bulbs down here, and an incandescent up there, which again gives us sort of that color twist. The front is a little bit more orange, and the back is a little bit more green-bluish, just because of the different color temperatures of bulbs. These were all taken with that same really old camera. This is a setup just like we just saw, only I use 2 little cases. Very nice. I'm just flattering myself now. Here we are back to the mag lights. I wanted to show that you can have a taller object, and I just basically pointed these closer to the front to get more light here on the side. So you see these little highlights right here? That's what you do by moving it forward. Move it to the back, you get more of this little hard edge on this side. It really defines it nicely, but it's a different kind of a look. And here's the same,
Very cool.
the same salt shakers with just zoomed out and got real close. Now, something interesting about this. Like I said, this box, I spent probably 15 minutes making this box. So it's completely very well constructed. However, the inside, here on the edges, is just brown cardboard. And you can kind of see that right here. You can see the little brown edges there. And it's a little distracting, like my perfectionistic tendencies are just popping right up. So what you can do if you wanted to avoid those little brown reflections is get some white tape, like white duct tape, or just white spray paint if you wanted to. And just tape it or spray paint those inside edges white. And that'll kill all those reflections. It keeps this interesting light, dark, light kind of pattern, but you would lose the brown, which you can't really see here on this projector. But if you look at this on your computer at home, you would definitely be able to see the brown there. So, this is the box. It's very complicated, very expensive, clearly. I think it cost me $3 to make, just because I had to buy a pad of tracing paper. I had to buy the poster for the back. Gives you great results almost every time. I have not been able to mess it up yet. Very proud to say. If anybody wants to borrow this box, you're welcome to do so. Because I'm just going to go take it home and take it apart. serves its purpose. Product photography. It doesn't have to be hard. Just get a box, get some tracing paper, nail it. You can set it up, you can take it down, throw it away. If you break it, doesn't matter, you can make a new one for another $3. Thank you very much.